everyone. Welcome to Sandbox Student Productions reading of Stand with Ukraine. Tonight we are reading 3 different selections by Ukrainian playwrights that were all pre-approved to be performed for fundraising purposes. So with that, tonight we are fundraising for the International Committee of the Red Cross. The IRC has been working in Ukraine since 2014. Their operations in the country are among the 10 largest ICRC operations worldwide, with a team of over 600 staff members. Working closely with the Ukrainian Red Cross Society, we are increasing our response to the humanitarian needs in Ukraine. Our support to people includes emergency assistance such as food, water, and other essential items. We also support hospitals and primary healthcare facilities with medical equipment and emergency preparedness. They repair water stations and support households to rehabilitate their damaged homes. They also help reconnect families who are separated by the conflict. So if you would like to donate, we are taking donations over here in that giant glass, or you can donate online. But yeah, we just want to honor the people that we're doing this in support of. But I will let us get to the reading now.
A foretaste of war. Before the war, we were in Egypt, in Sinai and Dahab. That's when I started writing these texts. I don't have cancer, I don't have HIV, but I'm constantly frail with alternating phases of good health. Yes, I know I shouldn't write like this. I don't even have to say no because the brain doesn't perceive, no. Can't sleep. I dream in the morning of my avuncular host in a suit on the TV. I can't fix my attention. I fall into mindless wandering around shops. I persuade my friend to buy an expensive Adidas sweatshirt for 2,000 hryvnia. Yes, in real life, it's the 21st, February 21st, 2022, and I'm finally writing these rotten lines, getting down in words these weak imitations of despair. My stomach aches, gnawing away softly. On what? I can't digest this war between Ukraine and Russia. The 150,000 strong army at the border doesn't drop nicely into my stomach along with pieces of delicious shawarma or ripe mango, sweet and juicy. I can eat nothing but plain rice, a plate of rice, nice rice. I'm just catching up on the news. I'm missing in action again. The rice drags out the slag and water from me, and although the water is wide, the whole Red Sea, it is drowning me with waves of waterless anxiety. Why red? Filled with blood like red lunar eclipse. 3 days later, and Putin has not attacked. A gray-haired general out his troops says to the camera, "We're stuck here in the cold. We're hungry for plain rice. We don't care about Ukraine's war on the orcs." Why does Ukraine matter? I'd be better off in a stingy liquid on the mattress with my Anastasia. I'd be better off eating shawarma and swimming in the Red Sea. I'm sick of this shit. I program my brain into that layer of reality where everything is fine, where my avuncular host wakes me up for TV. Putin is on TV. A speech. Give me supper. No need for vodka. No need for a sea of blood. Get away from me. Leave that Pushkin's udder, as our janitor neighbor from the first floor sang with us the Russian-speaking gymnasium where we used to go. My mom and dad were always amused by her. They used to warn me that I'd end up a janitor if I was too lazy to study properly. It turned out that their family added a king-size balcony and sold the apartment for the office. My family got broken by all this Russian aggression, and no one is left in Moscow, really. Only my aunt, and she has cancer. I miss my dog, Athena, the most. A bull terrier, the best creature in the world. She's afraid of cats because she was once beaten up by a mother cat. A fearsome sight. Rearing up on its hind legs, swinging its claws and screaming, and inflicting such injuries that now Athena is even afraid of kittens. Athena also has cancer. Now Putin recognizes the Luhansk and Donetsk republics. Putin is moving his troops into their territory, and all the time I eat shawarma, absolutely filling my stomach, smothering the weakness. And all this is happening whilst I'm eating. Everything will be fine. My boyfriend is talking to his father on the phone. My father in Kiev is lying on the couch on one side of a high-rise building and refuses to go to the bomb shelter.
Your family is growing. You will have children. Your fiancé will soon be your wife.
I'm not interested in all of this. I told you what I would do.
Maybe you better stay in Poland, or at least in Lviv.
Why are you still bullshitting with me?
2 weeks before the war, I had a dream that a Russian or Belarusian soldier at a demo snatched a weapon and started firing at the crowd. I was just 100 meters away. I thought, I have to lie low. Lying there, 2 women came. At 20 after midnight, they went down to the subway. I didn't want to see the corpses, but I looked and there was already a boot shop. Big Doc Martens for 100 hryvnia. Different as a stocking for advertising boots. I thought, well, you need cool models for a beautiful shot, and the war was forgotten. I remember that I dreamed of my reflection. I did not like myself. I was different, fatter. The pain gets better, then worse in my lower back. I can bend, then pain again. I think it's psychosomatic and I need to meditate and dream. I dreamed that a woman gave birth to a watermelon pumpkin after holding it close to her belly. A few days before Seryozhka's departure. And then you'll be back and we'll have a baby.
Aha.
We just have to get married first because I won't do it otherwise. Then we'll have a baby.
Aha. Yes. Yulchka.
1.5 weeks before the war. After coffee, I had a fucking dream. I fell asleep at about 5, and before that, I was mesmerized by my heart beating like an express train and feeling on the verge of a panic attack. After a break, drinking coffee again. It had a bad effect on me. Yes, I became more talkative, but it made me feel like a hunted gazelle. I meditated on the norms, but then I listened to myself and only heard the thumping of my buffalo muscle heart. Soothing lavender tea did not help. Today was a strange day. In the morning, I dreamed of baths, of coffins in which overgrown men lay young girls, their daughters laying down to them. My father would be a king for me. I thought about this phrase, which was taught at school on an empty stomach. Seryozhka did not like it when I bought a pair of unnecessary glasses, some with red lenses, others with clouds and teardrops. Today, Seryozhka threw cats over the fence. Lepeshka stole the cake again, and in the restaurant nearby, there was an Arab man looking very much like that weird bearded man from the theater festival in the village of Podvine near Klemensky. The one who ate vodka, smoked cigars, then tried to clamber on the balance board, showing us half his hairy ass. I dreamed of the scent of pine needles, Pepsi Cola, red Marlboro. I have the best hairstyle now, long enough to feel the hair and short enough not to worry about styling, although I never cared about it except in my school years.
Biden says Putin has already made a decision. There are already some explosions in Donbass.
In which country can you live in without a visa?
None.
Well, maybe we can be sheltered somewhere. Militants of the People's Republic of Luhansk fabricated videos showing that the civilian population should be evacuated, published 2 days ago. Neighbors in London are celebrating DR and Kurt Cobain is playing very loudly. People in Luhansk are blowing up gas stations to accuse Ukraine. Seryozhka is nervous, so am I. Don't show me the way up to heaven. I don't need it. Yet. Almost all my relatives are already there. Only my aunt with cancer lies in Moscow and she can't jump there. The storm came that night. There was anger at Putin. Ben Marcus calls the most dramatic stories stun guns. He says they hold you paralyzed on the outside but nearly very spasming within. This is how it is with my stomach. Today, February 21st, 2022, I fed the goats with grapes and mango leftovers. I really liked it. At night, Seryozhka told me a dream that he did not want to tell. Saw the child and thought, I will do this to Julia. I will fuck her without a condom. But during the day, I changed my mind and I had fears about toxoplasmosis from so many cats. Today, I finally wrote half a page. I liked it. And then we went to eat shawarma, obsessively and compulsively. My stomach stopped hurting when we ate Syrian shawarma. Everything was boiled and grilled, tomatoes and onions, and drank yogurt and read tweets about what Putin said in his speech accusing Ukraine. Then we watched the Japanese film, A Man Without a Map. There are some very funny moments, namely the framing idea, unusual, mirrored with constant daydreaming cutaways, something strangely like Fassbinder, the illusion and main character. Even after the shawarma, we sat and I cried.
Oh, fuck. 2 Turkish private planes are taking off. People are running away.
We sit together and watch the movement of planes. A military operation is announced. A sweep from the Nazis. I'm going to wash. Can I limit myself to these areas? I come out the shower naked.
He is bombing Kiev.
I'm crying hysterically. I fall on the bed. He tries to comfort me. In my gushing eyes, I see it for the first time. I'm glad I finally cried. At what price, I'm still sitting with him. Watching the news and his telegram to a group of cryptocurrencies. Tired, I go to bed with earplugs. I can't sleep.
I'm going to join the defense.
I'm in despair. And me?
And you can come with me.
No, I don't want to go. I'm not going.
Valhalla, I want to be a warrior, a Viking.
I'm super scared to be alone. Night 27 to 28/02/2022. We fly to Germany from Sharm el-Sheikh. At the airport in Egypt, one man in a mask, a dude with a notch in his teeth at the check-in desk. Place is filled with cigarette smoke. There is a no smoking room, but everyone smokes anywhere. I want to linger. Camel yellow or marble red. Nothing better than a camel. I remember the taste of cigarettes, so disgusting and so pleasant and familiar, emanating in my 90s childhood from kiosks and the markets where my parents sold jeans. I get angry many times today. At the airport, I was mad at the dudes who selectively check bags. It bothered me. We're not German, but give us a break. And even flies crawl on every candle. One policewoman in a hijab sang to distract us all. Now the dude has turned on music on his smartphone, and everyone is listening. He stands next to her, hugging his jacket. As always, Arab men are crying. Seryoshka sits alone, constantly reading the news on Twitter and Telegram. Glad that I moved away. We ate the most expensive panini, 150 Egyptian pounds for one, $10. The flight was delayed. To Germany, Cologne. I haven't been there yet. This is a surprise. We had intended to look at the Sphinx, but in the end, we are going to look at the Kolner House. There are many Ukrainians, and I greet them with Slava Ukraini, then check listening to their pronunciation. I was angry with the taxi driver that Seryoshka agreed with, and the taxi driver was saying, "It's for one," so insistent. Seryoshka argued, and I shout, "Yes, we have a war on, and you greedy Egyptians just demand money." He fell back. Like the one who wanted to check the suitcases fell back when I shouted. I talked with Seryoshka's mother and told her that I wanted children. She says we are also very much looking forward to grandchildren. I slept the first night in Cologne. Vegetarian diet, we were all fed by Mario and Karina. Muesli and pasta with mushrooms, peas and asparagus. I dream that I'm stuck with a bad guy who hurts me. Why me with you?
I'm your incentive.
I remember this word very well. For the second time, I dreamed that my people were going to celebrate my DR. I run away from everyone, go down the stairs with Seryoshka behind me. I want to go out because I feel very tired. I see people carrying gifts and shopping. God, how good it is when there's no war. I need wine, but I'm so tired I don't want to celebrate. I want to go home. Today we are in the great cathedral at Kolner Dom. Last night we slept on the floor, not a bed. Karina is engaged in cognitive behavioral therapy. Mario is a media artist.
Where's your paper bin? I don't need these agreements anymore.
Are you sure? I can save them for you.
It has to be signed by the producer, but it's not over yet.
Fatigue is felt on the head like a helmet, Kevlar helmet. Suddenly the heart beats are somewhere below at the level of the genitals, center of pleasure. He's gone now. In the morning, I push Seryoshka away, angry at him for touching my breasts, my genitals. I'm sick. I'm in pain. I want to scream. I know we may be apart for a long time. No one is happy. We eat cheese with truffles. Mario and Karina have Irish cookies from a pack with dairy cows grazing on grass. We try to joke. By that devil's sorrow. In Mario and Karina's flat, there's a poster on the wall with the inscription, "Don't fall in love with your suffering." In Seryoshka Cathedral, I take photos of everything, and I sit on a bench and meditate, watching the thoughts in my head. I rest my feet on a footstool, very comfortable. Around the scene of Christ's suffering, his wounds healed, displayed to the audience. I was rather more impressed by the pixelated stained glass window of 2007 and the planet Saturn in bright orange. I meditated and thought, I'm comfortable now. and I don't have to stand in Christian Orthodox churches. I remember the warmth of my fur coat, the one that's a nightgown too. I can feel its downy softness on my skin. I am ashamed at praying for peace. Instead, I remember my fur coat, now hanging in the closet of my apartment in Kiev, if the house hasn't been blown up yet by Russian peacekeepers.
Take your feet off the stool. They're for praying on your knees. That's how to do it.
He quickly knelt, then stood up. I slowly pulled myself on a wooden rail and became firm, suffering. We are flying to Poland. We are flying to Poland.
I confused the time. It's not 23:50. We are going, but 21:50.
I'm finishing yoga. My friend Andre dropped by with his girlfriend, also Ukrainian. We eat curry fast. I'm sorry, I had to finish yoga. I have to keep rituals. It matters to me. I'm shaking at the table. I tremble and talk a lot. Karina gives me 150 euros. I say this is a very awkward situation, but I take it. A volunteer in Poland is looking for ammunition and a bulletproof vest for Seryoshka. I can't let you go.
Why do I need that armor?
It will keep me calm.
Well, if I have a bulletproof vest, I will enroll in the shock troops and sit at the rear.
We will leave soon.
Pussycat from Memories About Darkness.
Take the kitty. I'm selling. If they were not purebred, I would just gift them. Just for nothing? No. They will resell them, will torment in bazaars, and I want to know which hands I give them to. They are very purebred. Documents? I have not restored the documents yet. If you want the documents, go away. The beast is chosen by the heart, about and fell in love. They're not fluffy, but they are not Persians. They are Scots. They have skin like a plush, so soft. And else they can stand on their hind legs, such a breed. No, I will not show you now. They're sleeping. And actually, they don't want to stand by order. They are the same as Scots. Why didn't Scots vote for secession from England? I'm about kittens. Color? One is white and another is gray, and one more is blackish. White is a pussycat. I called her Maria Stuart. No, you can call her as you want. She's like a real queen, very noble, like Mom. Do you want me to show your mom? There's a photo, but I cannot show you her. Cannot, and that's it. And what's suspicious in it? That I'm wearing glasses, but there's no sun? Should I remove the glasses? What does it have to do with glasses? Or you buy it or you don't. I see that you liked the girl. She trusts her. I'm all about pussy. Do you not trust me because of the glasses? Are you buying a cat or my glasses? You'll think, and then I'll think too. Let the girl wear the kitty into place. Don't hurt Psyche. I'm about Kitty. She had already endured in a war that doesn't exist. You think that Donbass registration spoils the breed? Well, and think. You want elsewhere. Well, will you buy the cat if I remove the glasses? And I was just the same, white and fluffy as this pussy. Husband, 2 children, cat, dog, bank account, vacation at sea. I had a hairdressing salon. My husband had a firm, Euro windows, doors. My son, clever wit, studied in Kiev on a budgetary for a computer programmer. When I saw these shots of my bloody Christmas tree, his cell phone was outside the coverage area and I was outside of the horror area. Husband said, "What do you want?" Like mother, like son. I was there a long time during the First Revolution, on grant. I studied in Kiev and I was considered the first nationalist in the class, even though I'm from Donbass. I learned Ukrainian by dictionary. Granny spoke Ukrainian, mother spoke Russian, father spoke contrarian, grandfather spoke Russian, 2-headed mutant. They were so funny. Then was the euphoria of victory, and after a while, invitation to the KGB. Someone informed you. Do you think you know who this is? Since that I have an allergy to politics. But when you're a child, clever, talented, and honest, they can do anything. Beat, torture, maim, kill, arrest, just for nothing. I couldn't wait and jerked to Maiden. I walked. Strange feeling. Deja vu. Then started to call these people fascists. How can black be called white? I suddenly understood my son. It isn't scary here. It is scary behind the screen. Once upon a time, a dog bit him, and he began to fear all dogs. Then we bought him a puppy, Ralph, and the fear passed. So, are you going to take this kitty? Take it, because it suffered. Documents? I don't have them yet or already. And now, looks like I don't exist. It's illegal, of course. I sell illegal kitties in a legal place. It's illegal. But will it be legal for triplets? By the way, I want to file an application. Will you accept it? I got robbed. What was stolen from me? Everything. House, land, car, work, friends, city, faith, everything except these kitties. Can you give that all back? This is the most serious crime. This is not your area of expert. Grayish? Smoky. I loved the smell of smoke before. Now? Now I am afraid. Perhaps someone was burned. I saw those who were taken out of the tank. They stand before my eyes till now. I am afraid to close them, and yet afraid of dreams, nightmares. You are waking up, and it seems that you have not woken up. It is better to say the color of a stormy sky. When all that started, the sky became dark gray, like this kitty. It presses on you, and you can't do anything. It has been awakened, gently. It's not herpes. A cigarette was extinguished on it. Terrorist, militiaman, separatist. Why did they burn a kitty? Banderian. And the Tartar Jew banderites aren't absurd? It eats everything. Vegetables, bread, and Mom was the same. For me, Donbass was watermelons, apricots, white chalk mountains, ponds and salt lakes, where it was so easy to learn how to swim and it seemed impossible to go down. I will never be able to swim there. Run away, run away, run away, run away, run away. But how? Lord? Here there are notches as children grow up, drew on wallpapers, and we sticked up magnets from different trips. Smell. We have here everywhere the apricots, the smell of flowers at spring, the smell of them squashed on the road at summer, and dried up apricots at the fall. And now another smell appeared, the smell of bitter blood, burned skin, the smell of death, stench. When our tanks appeared, they started to cry. Do not let them go back to Kiev. How? It's our tanks. They came to defend our land, and women crippled. We do not need tanks. And then our old friend called from the uni, she's a judge now. Her son is in the army, Maxim, asked, look, how is he there? Well, I went. Vovchik, our neighbor, he ran into you, and we gave him the brush off. Ah, I was 10 or 11 years old, and he ran into us by bike. We were playing, and he was running into us. Everybody was screaming and running away, and he had his fun. He's a king. I was fed up. He is riding, and I am staying without any move. Step to the right, I'm pushing. He never more ran into me and my friends. I was walking with the daughter, and I saw him, this glance, so greedy. First at me, then at her, and I stopped dead. I remember people said that he was in jail for robbery, something like that. Run away. Lord, my girl Inga, my beloved princess, my son, my light, kind, gentle. I resisted in order not to run, but I saw that he was watching. I came home and told my husband, Mias, let's collect our bags and run away. He persisted at the beginning, but I prayed and shouted and cried, and he retreated. For our daughter, he was ready to go through fire and water. I began to gather, threw some things, took them out, put others in, suitcases could not be closed, tears flowed, and then our pussy started to give birth. The whole night we were giving birth to 3 kittens. One was gray, the second was white, and one more was black. Pretty small. Wally drag, as my mother used to say. In the morning I fell asleep. I wake up as 7 kittens were squealing under my side. She entrusted them to me, and I had understood. I'm not going anywhere. Nice, go alone. Save our daughter, I persuaded him. Then I had a dream. A big plane floats, overshadows half the sky, terribly. Whirring sound of the plane, exploding shells, flashes. I did not get to the bomb shelters. I had a basement, and we were hiding there with Ralph, Esmeralda, and the kittens. And then that plane was shot down with civilians. Once we were praying for peace, now for victory. Take this kitty, even for half price. The boy, a black color. Misfortune? Do you know what is misfortune? Kitty is a joy, at least some consolation. Who needs with our misfortune, see? I will tell you, since there's nobody else. Children, husband. They brought me in some basement and began to beat me there. I am Ukrainian from grandfather, great-grandfather, and so my surname is Ukrainian, and passport. So which land have I to protect? And which soldiers? I'm not Kievan, and not Western, I'm local. That church was built by my great. In the night, I was lying on the concrete, and I was thinking about God and death. And so, as the women, I tried to imagine myself in the place of God. So I gave birth to a child, gave him freedom, and suddenly I find out he rapes and kills children, and most important, he feels joy because of that. And I love him. Hopelessness of God? Next morning they took me into the city, wrapped in the flag and left standing with a sign. Beat, spat, mostly women. No one stood up, took pictures on my background. Heard English, flashes, journalists arguing with someone, Vovchik, commanding something for somebody, and they took me to the basement. In the house, I was allowed to take a shower. At night, they brought me something to eat, for the first time in 4 days. And then showed up he, Vovka. He said I could go, but if I sent a document that I do not have any claims to them, including my property claims. I came to my house. They cleaned there, everything. Jewelry, appliances, utensils, husband's tools. Oh, how he collected them. Every detail. Little angels Inga collected. Stash, of course, they found it. They even cut roses. Lord, what do they need roses for? Once my great-grandmother planted the whole courtyard with roses. Grandmother cut down roses, planted a kitchen garden. So here they fought, potatoes and roses. Esmeralda, her frozen little body laid near the door. She was waiting for me to her last, my faithful friend. Ralph jumped around and tried to raise her with her hardened little body by a muzzle. They were very good friends. She was for him before, like mother. No one will ever feel for me as she did. Kittens? And crawling out from under the cupboard, one is white, the second is gray, and one more is black. I grabbed them into the feed bag. The little body of Esmeralda wrapped in baby blankets. A covered Raya, tearful, a kind of black. Whom do you bury? Esmeralda. My son tripped a mine. Alive? The hand was torn off. Forgive me. You can live here. I would like to say to those who sowed all these your worthless passions, desire for power and business interest, in comparison with the monstrous black hole that you opened, towards which our land flies at breakneck speed. I wish I was born a cat. Take the kitty. Take it. So you will not take this black kitten, no? I understand you are afraid of misfortune. You look at us as hated ones, so we supposedly are guilty of attacking us, or because we escaped. But what is better? That we were killed? Maybe it's better. But I'm not afraid of it. I don't believe that it will be worse than it is here. What will happen to this black disaster?
She takes a kitty.
He does not have a name. And you know, I'll call him New Crop, and I'll leave it to me. True, I don't have a home, and cats get used to the place. Or maybe on the contrary, then I will be a cat. I will have a house. Somehow it will be, because it never was that I was not.
She removes glasses.
I'll leave my glasses for you. With them, it's easier to get used to this darkness.
She is going out.
He who opens the door. The action takes place in a morgue during a cold season in present-day Ukraine. Reception room of a morgue. Doors on left and right. There can be a couple of cots in the room, in the middle of the room. In the middle of the room, a woman sits at a desk, singing a popular song coming from a player. She leaves the pages of a magazine, probably a magazine intended for women.
Things they invent here makes you either gasp or cry. Now that looks good and erotic, I'd say, but it fits her like a saddle cow. It would fit me, though. But begging your pardon, for what occasion could I wear it? To entertain the dead? In this dreaded morgue, it's the only thing that comes to your mind.
Turns over the pages of the magazine.
Oh, exercises for breasts. That's just what I need, because soon I'll be able to see my boobs only through a microscope.
Leaves the desk and begins exercising.
Good, but how am I supposed to bring those breasts into motion?
The sound of something creaking comes from behind the stage. She listens intently.
Are my breasts creaking or what?
Again, the creaking sound.
Oh no, it must be mice.
The creaking sound grows stronger.
Mice they might be, but they're carrying on like some clamorous pigs. I must poison them with something. Mightn't get rid of them, but it'll surely undermine their health. What if they're rats?
Again, the creaking sounds.
I was told this would be a cushy job, quiet and clean, with a peaceable clientele with no complaints into the bargain. The only unpleasant thing would be the smell. Enough of that. Mice or rats. Let's relax.
Puts on earphones. In that instant, a door opens on the right side of the stage. A half-naked woman wearing a tag on her foot appears in a weird light. The first woman lets out a stifled cry and collapses in a faint. The second woman cautiously enters the room and looks around. She is nice-looking, but with traces of a recklessly spent night. At first, she does not notice the first woman.
Hey, where am I? Looks like a shoddy office to me. Or is it a sobering up station? And where is everybody? Could I be the only drunk in town? Or is the dry law in force? I, for one, like dry wine. Why is it so cold in here?
Only now notices that she is almost naked.
Good gracious, they could have at least covered me with something at least.
Sees a pile of bed sheets, wraps a sheet around herself like a Greek tunic.
I'll be dressed in antique style. Ledger of morgue number 5. Oh my, this is a morgue. Dear girl, you've been drunk up to your waterline. Your memory is a blank with bits and pieces of intellect still intact. Hello? Anyone alive in here? What a stupid thing to ask at a charnel house, isn't it?
Sits down on a chair and notices the first woman.
Oh, could that be it?
Takes a closer look.
Doesn't seem to be breathing. Now, what charnel house is this? It's a pigsty, not a charnel house, but with corpses lying around and every step in the way of living people, and all sorts of drunkards gadding about. Although I'm almost sober by now. I must move her to some other place because it's somehow inhuman leaving her in this place.
Drags the first woman to the cot. Just then, the first woman opens her eyes. The second woman stares in horror and retreats to a safe distance.
Be gone! Stay where you are and don't come near me!
Oh, excuse me, but you seem to be a corpse.
What? I'm hearing that from a corpse myself.
But you died. How come you are talking? What's this, a dream?
Certainly not, although it could be a dream of the eternal variety. You're seeing me because, beg your pardon, you too gave up the ghost.
Where am I?
What an insolent lot these corpses are nowadays. He or she's kicked the bucket and asked such questions. You're in the sweet by and by, in the afterworld as it were.
So, who are you then?
There could be several options. Still a corpse, already a corpse, or simply a corpse.
Do you mean that I'm already a... How come?
Because you cease to live.
No, I don't want to.
Everyone has to go through that. No need to be upset about it. Living nowadays is an expensive pleasure, what with having to buy this and that, but all a corpse needs is a coffin.
Do you know how expensive coffins are today?
It won't be you buying it, but your hubby. You'll be just lying in the coffin in peace and quiet without worrying about clothing and feeding your mortal flesh. He'll be bringing you flowers to your grave. Did he bring you flowers frequently during your lifetime?
Oh, but I didn't bid him farewell. It'll be such a blow to him.
A blow, you say? Oh no, will he have a sigh of relief? Imagine a man having to stick to one skirt all his life. You enjoyed yours, so let him enjoy his as a free man.
Wait a minute. How did it all happen? I was healthy after all.
You just said it, lady, in the past tense. What kind of health do you expect in such an environment as ours? The soul is filled to bursting with pesticides and herbicides. The air, beg your pardon, stinks of shit to high heaven. H2O, in the true sense of the formula, doesn't seem to exist at all. Once you're filled up with that shit up to your gills, it's curtains.
But I did exercises to keep my breasts in good shape. Didn't indulge, well, almost, in drinking, and regularly took all those health pills.
What a waste of money. Usually it all ends up in a thumping heart attack when you turn up your toes.
Oh God, what language you use. How can you joke at such a time? Don't you really have anything to regret?
Right now I do. But what's the sense of bawling? Whom are you trying to move to tears? That freakish dame with the braids who dreams of becoming a prime minister? She doesn't care a straw about you or anyone else. No, I'd rather meet her with a stiff lip and rosy cheeks instead of a bluish pale face.
Rushes to a mirror to have a look at herself.
By the way, I don't look like a corpse at all, and there's nothing of a bluish pale face you mentioned.
Did you expect an immediate effect? That'll take a couple of days. You better take care of something more essential. Do you have a place at a cemetery?
No.
What about relatives? Nowadays, you can put to bed with a shovel together with some relative.
No. Regrettably, they're all still alive.
So the next stop would be a crematorium.
To be burned alive just like that?
First, not alive, but dead. And second, why not? It's better to burn up quickly than, beg your pardon, rot away boringly for a long time.
Listen, don't you have any other subjects to talk about? Why are we sitting here just like that? Where's the paradise? Hell, the light at the end of the tunnel, or at least anything similar to a decent afterlife.
We're probably waiting for someone to take care of us. Just imagine what a lot of people are doddering off life's stage. Probably there must be a long waiting line.
Will you be last in the line?
Could be.
I'll be next in the line then. Right now I'm nervous.
Nothing to be nervous about, because you've got everything behind you already.
So what should we do now?
Doing anything now is out of place. Relax and, how should I put it? Oh yes, find repose. By the way, what about getting acquainted? After all, we're on our last trek together. My name's Victoria, and what's yours?
Natalia. Natalia Herovina.
Natalia Herovina. Imagine how nice the first name and patronymic would look in gilded letters on granite, and under all that the epitaph, from the sincerely grateful descendants.
But I don't have any descendants.
So be it. In memory, honor and glory be yours for ages to come.
Amen. I won't live for that long.
Sure, you'll die much earlier. Here's another version of an epitaph. You'll live in our hearts, period.
It lacks warmth and sounds too formal to me.
My, you are difficult to please. Do you have a nice photograph for the tombstone?
No, except one for a passport. I'm not too photogenic and my figure is not...
You've got a good enough figure for a coffin, and the main thing is that it has some economical advantages, a narrower coffin, less expensive, and less fabric for dressing you up.
Indeed. I have nothing decent to wear. Truth is, I came by a fur coat not so long ago.
No, wearing a fur coat in a coffin is indecent, and perhaps it would be too warm in it.
I also bought a brand new swimming suit, a colorful one with flowers.
No, flowers won't do. We need something black or dark blue. What a lingering Soviet habit we indulge in by putting off everything for later on.
But that came so unexpectedly.
It's something everyone is being warned of today. In advance. You seem to have been taught everything. Want to drive a car? Good. Take a 3-month training course, pass exams, and only then you'll be issued a driving license. But nobody is being prepared for death. I think there should be some courses and exams for this purpose. If you fail to take a course, don't be in a hurry to pay the debt of nature.
That's exactly what I'd string along with. But I'm still a greenhorn in this respect. What if I won't be accepted?
Why ask me? I know as much as you do.
But you seem to know all the facts of life. As if you've died a dozen times.
You know why? It's because of my logical thinking. For some reason, I've got a headache right now. What if thinking too much is harmful for corpses?
For corpses, nothing is harmful anymore.
A sober thought, I'd say. I have to take something against this headache.
Looks for some pills on the desk, swallows a couple, sits down at the desk, and falls asleep.
Let me have some too. All these weird happenings have had my head spin.
Also takes some pills.
Their taste reminds me of my soccer fit. Maybe I'll find some repose.
Goes to a cot and lies down. Scene 2. Natalia wakes up gradually, gets on her feet, rubs her eyes, takes in the room, notices Victoria, walks up to her and coughs slightly to wake her up.
Excuse me, but what are you doing here?
Half awake, not understanding what's going on.
Where am I? No, wait a minute. I went out with Tolik. Do you know him?
I don't, and I don't want to.
Good for you. He's a rare skull, made me drink and then walked out on me. Or was it the other way around? When I came to my senses, it was cold, and then I saw corpses all around, and you seemed to be one of them. Now I'm recalling it all. Your name is Natalia.
Right, and yours is Victoria. So it wasn't a dream, was it?
What dreams are you talking about? Look at me. In my eyes, there's frost. On my leg is a tag, and I'm a typical representative of the family of corpses. You don't look any better.
This is absurd. Me? A corpse?
No, you were simply gadding about nearby and decided to drop into morgue number 5, a wonderful attraction site with such a refreshing cool.
Ward number 5? But that's the place I work at as a medical orderly. Does it mean that I'm alive?
Why then were you lying around like an ordinary corpse?
I wasn't lying around. I just fainted at your site, taking you for a ghost. Although this is a morgue and live corpses are a rarity around here. You're the first one I've seen.
I'm really thrown out of here. Am I alive, a corpse, or ghost?
We could pinch each other.
Ow, that hurts.
Of all people to complain.
Let's suppose we're alive. But how have we come to be here?
Wait a minute. You mentioned about a booza. Maybe you became dead drunk, got chilled to the bones in the street, and they picked you up as a corpse.
How then did a medic confirm my death?
So wonder how he didn't confirm his own death yet. He goes on a bender at his workplace and everything else just runs by autopilot.
Why do they keep such people?
Nobody's ever complained about it. You're the first one. Thank God that you landed here, not the crematorium, and you'll have to drink less.
I didn't get into the habit yet. So we're alive, aren't we?
Thank God we are. All is well that ends well.
I'd even say all that doesn't end. Oh, but I must phone back home lest they worry.
Don't tell them, though, where you're phoning from.
May I?
Tries to phone but fails.
The line seems to be dead.
How come? Let me try.
Tries to phone but fails as well.
That's strange. Not a single buzz. Never mind, there's a public telephone around the corner.
Goes to the door where she stops short.
Oh my, I can't go outdoors in such a wear. I'd be lucky not to be hauled off to a nut house.
Wait, the clothes are in the outer room. You were dressed upon arrival, I hope.
Sure, once upon a time, it's a striped suit.
Pushes the door but it proves to be closed.
What the hell? It's closed. Or is this somebody's foolish joke? Wait, there's no emergency exit here.
Runs to the opposite door, tries to open it but it's also closed.
Why are you standing there rooted to the floor? Give me a hand.
Both try to open the door, but all is in vain.
Well, that's a pretty pass. I wonder how long we'll be stuck in this hole. By the way, what time is it?
Produces a watch.
It stopped. Must have hit the floor when I blacked out. Do you have a watch?
The only thing I got is a tag. Just when I thought, it's got the number 13 on it. With such a number, they won't even let you die in a human way.
What should we do now? The main thing, what does it all mean?
What about breaking down the door?
It's hopeless. The door's steel-plated.
What a stupid country we live in. Why should a morgue have steel-plated doors? To keep out the body snatchers? Or to prevent the dead from running away?
No, that's not the reason. This used to be a bomb shelter in case of a nuclear, chemical, or such like attacks. Somewhere there's an instruction on this point.
Here it is.
In case of danger of attack, the security system is activated and the door is locked.
Do you mean that?
I don't mean anything. I just read what's written here. Maybe it's something incidental.
And the dead telephone line? Is that also incidental?
Good lord, it gives me the creeps. I just can't believe it.
When the nuclear power station at Chernobyl blew up, nobody believed it either.
What if it's blown up again?
Who knows? In any case, going outdoors is dangerous. Anything could be out there. Chemical contamination, radioactive fallout, epidemics.
Where could that garbage have come from? Everything seemed to be quiet.
The explanation is simple. The Americans got sick of China's expansionist ways and hit it with a nuclear rocket. The Russians stood up for their Chinese comrades and retaliated, so the Americans put on a nuclear missile attack on Moscow. Now all that radioactive shit is raining down on our heads.
I'm surely down on my luck to have landed in morgue number 5 at such a time. I believe that this would be the end of my professional ambitions, but now it might be much worse than that.
It depends how you look at it. At first we seemed to be dead while everyone else was alive, but now perhaps it's the other way around.
Do you really believe we're the last people on Earth?
It could be a possibility. Who knows?
Why would God just leave 2 females alive? Makes no sense to me. Noah, for one, brought on board his ark a pair of each creature. Of that he can use, what use can the 2 of us be?
The ways of God are truly unfathomable. What if thereby he wanted to put an end to all wars? Once I saw a film where girls were reared in test tubes. You any good at biology? What's artificial insemination?
I'm a medic after all. Artificial just means artificial, but you still need a man to achieve the desired outcome.
Presently, the telephone rings piercingly. The sound makes the women start.
Pick it up! This is supposed to be your workplace.
Picks up the phone and responds in an expressionless voice.
Hello. Yes. Yes.
Replaces the receiver. Keeps silent.
Well, who phoned?
I don't know.
Was it at least a man's or a woman's voice?
A man's, it seems.
Thank God, one man's still alive. What did he say?
They just left and will be here soon.
Scene 3.
Are they coming to pick up a corpse?
No, in that case they would have said it differently. They're coming for me or for us.
And what would that mean?
If only I knew.
At least the telephone has been switched on. Hey, it's offline again.
Maybe it's done intentionally to have the phone operate only one way. A weird hocus pocus, I'd say.
Now let's mull over it logically. If we're alive, so it's somebody's nasty joke, and we just have to wait it out until it runs its course.
And what if we're not alive?
More reason to wait. There's nothing else we can do.
Sits down and waits for a while.
But I can't be sitting and just twiddling my thumbs.
Jumps to her feet.
Let's do something.
Do you have any cigarettes?
Yes? So what?
You said we should do some. Let's have a smoke.
Natalia produces 2 cigarettes, lights one and the other, and then crumbles hers.
What's the matter?
I won't smoke. What if all this is real? And there'll be a last judgment. Smoking is a sin.
If it's real, you've already sinned up to the hilt, so it won't help you any. You can just as well give yourself up to all the joys of life. Oops, I beg your pardon, of death.
Produces another cigarette and lights it.
That's convincing.
1 cigarette more or less doesn't make any difference. You better be concerned about something more serious. Say a prayer if you're a believer.
Assumes a prayer is posed and barely moves her lips in a prayer.
And why don't you repent?
I see no sense in it. Whether I repent or not, I'll land down there.
Points to the floor.
I failed to abide by God's commandments. No sooner did I marry than my marital life became sour and we parted. I was kicked out of college, and what followed was a merry-go-round of living. But then I got crammed to the scuppers with all the ups and downs of life.
Still, if you repent sincerely, maybe this place is sort of purgatory. They didn't come for us on purpose so as to give us another change.
You say so because you're more than a match for me. Working hard all your life from sunup to sunset, living with one man, probably never deceiving him, eh?
Not a lot you know about me, do you? I would have been better off had I deceived him in this.
This what? All right, if you don't want to say it, don't.
Listen, what if I repent to you? It'd be like confessing to a priest.
Just a minute.
Stubs out her cigarette.
Now repent?
To make a long story short, I had 2 abortions. In my salad days, so to speak. I got pregnant from a boy I met by chance.
That's enough for an explanation. What about the second?
That's when I was already married. We were renting one room and I lived in such squalor that I decided against childbirth. Later on, I saw my baby boy in my dreams. You know, it seemed like a snowstorm was raging and somebody knocked on the door saying quietly, "Mommy, let me in, I'm scared." I opened the door, but there was nobody outside. That would rouse me from sleep and make me weep bitterly. I was told that any abortion spells the end of a marriage. A woman has to pay for interrupted childbirth, for life, let alone everything else that follows.
And for a child as well. Almost everybody is resorting to abortions. That's what life's like. But with me, it was much worse than that. When I was pregnant, my mate deceived me with a broad, and so I sent him packing. He left, all right, but my baby girl was born dead. Got herself entangled in the umbilical cord. They say that once it feels guilty of something, it hangs itself.
Can they really understand such things there?
Better than we. You know, it would have been better had I done an abortion. Less suffering for both me and my baby girl, especially for her.
Listen, a lot of sins are forgiven for suffering.
Makes no difference to me after all I've been through.
The telephone rings, both of them freeze.
Pick up the phone quick, but this time ask everything in great detail.
No, you do it. It's your turn. Pick it up or it'll stop ringing.
Picks up the receiver.
Hello? Who's there? Yes. I just want to.
Replaces the receiver.
What did he say?
Don't worry, we'll be here soon. He said, and added not to take any thoughtless steps and keep out of harm's way. Wait a minute, if we're to keep out of harm's way, doesn't it mean that we're alive?
Indeed, what steps the more so thoughtless can a corpse take? It's clear as daylight.
Sounded to me like the assurances of a medic. Please, don't worry, everything will be all right, and if your leg will be cut off up to your ears, you don't need it anyway, do you? Got the drift? Did you get plastered often?
Only now and then.
But I was a real booze hound. Delirium, tremens, that's what we're suffering from, my dear.
What? You must be out of your mind.
Of course I am. My job's a nervous affair with a lot of stress and fatigue, so there's never enough glue to keep me in one piece.
What are you raving about? Do you mean that we're some screwballs?
There might be two options. Either we're screwballs, or the screwballs out there are much worse than me.
Let's assume it's so. Why then do they lock us up here?
Because we've got the manic depressive syndrome. We're sort of publicly dangerous types.
Why not in a nut house, but in a morgue?
It's an on-the-job method of treatment, I guess.
But I'm not performing any work here.
It might also be a temporary arrangement.
What then does the phrase keep out of harm's way mean?
So that you won't ram your head against a wall and destroy public property?
My head's public property?
No, the wall, or those drive doors.
What kind of screwball am I if I can think soberly?
You'd better keep mum about your sober thinking. Whose obsessive idea the netherworld was it, but not yours?
And who carried on about a nuclear winter around one separately taken morgue?
Well, as far as I can make out, you're a typical schizoid paranoid, while I'm a paranoid schizophrenic.
Good Lord, sounds so idiotic. It seems to be true. Listen, you're a medic. You must be knowing the ropes. I'm aware that I got a screw loose, but tell me how and when it became loose.
Well, I'm not a psychiatrist. Did you ever have a feeling that somebody was pursuing you?
It happened. Whenever I put on a miniskirt, some stud would stick to me and dog my footsteps all the time.
And what about a long skirt?
Depends how long. Whenever with a deep cleft, the effect was the same.
See? Obtrusive ideas with persistent associations.
Oh, Mommy, I don't want to end up in a loony bin.
Don't be so wrought up. The patients are always better off than the medical personnel. All you do is lounge around and rest. It's the nurses that have to be pitied, since they're the ones on the move all the time, attending to the complaints of the crazies. Why do you think I got a job at the morgue? Everyone here is happy and doesn't complain. Dead patients are 100 times better than living ones.
Hey, I know what you're sick of. Necrophilia.
Are you out of your rocker? I've never touched them so much as with a finger.
So it's platonic necrophilia, phase 1.
I think that with you, it's the last phase of wackiness. Listen, I know that we should have to do to let us out of here. Let's pretend that we're on the way to recovery, understand?
I'll never drink again!
And I'll never come near a corpse. I'll quit this dead house tomorrow. No, right away, today.
Just the smell of liquor makes me sick.
And I get sick of the smell of those stiffs.
To prove my point, I'll join a sobriety society.
And I'll make the worst move by joining an ambulance team or work in analysis representation instead of this charnel house.
As the telephone rings, says quietly,
What if they heard us?
Come on, pick up the receiver and talk to him like a medic to a medic.
Hello? Yes. Excuse me, but won't you tell me?
replaces the receiver.
Well, what did the doctor say?
I think it wasn't a doctor. He said that they were late and that we should make up our minds.
Scene 5.
Make up our minds about what?
I don't know, but if they consider us schizos, they would have said something else. Schizos don't make up their mind. It's something that's done for them by others.
Exactly. Make up your mind. Sounds like an appeal on a ballot slip.
Hey, you hit upon a good idea. What if it's coup?
What coup?
A political coup d'etat, of course. While the higher-ups are locked in power struggle, the masses have been cooped up in their homes lest they pull a different way. Therefore, we have to make up our minds whether we support our side or their side.
But where is this our side and their side?
Does it make any hell of a difference to you? It won't be any worse than it is now.
Why so?
Or they'll make us last for this country in order by jailing some, wasting others, enough to make us breathe easier.
What if they jail or waste us?
Why us and what for?
If they knew what for, they would have done it a long time ago. We were told to make up our minds, which means we have to find out who the left and the right are.
Can you put it more clearly?
What a feather-brained character you are. The left are for making everyone much the same and be equally bad off, and for an all-out unification with different fraternal peoples, while the right are a peculiar breed of patriots who want us to be bad off as well, but selectively. And for them, the fraternal peoples are the ones with the fattest bank accounts.
Which means that everyone will be drowned down at the heels?
Who knows? So if we don't make up our minds, everyone will be under the screw, especially you and me. Is that clear enough?
Just about. Most likely the freaks we're dealing with are the ones from the left.
Shh. Mind what you say. They might be eavesdropping on us.
I'm too for a bright tomorrow, or still better for a bright today, when everyone, or per capita basis, will have equally a yacht, villa, and Mercedes car.
What are you raving about? What Mercedes car?
If that's not to your liking, let it be a bicycle for everyone, still better, a skating board, a red color. It's less expensive and will take care of the fitness problems. Also, there's absolutely nothing we've lost in NATO. Why should we have to be losers all the time?
Imagine some nice Western troops entering the picture. Oops, I wanted to say some friendly fraternal troops. We'll be living in Clover then.
When?
When all those dreaded nightclubs, casinos, discotheques, and other capitalist survivals are razed from the face of the earth.
Right you are, because they rob you of sleep. With our failing health, we're least fit to be whirling and twirling the whole night through.
And winning anything in a casino is like milking a he-goat into a sieve. The bastards are rigging the machines, cogging the dice, and double-crossing the gamesters. A lot of times I've tried to win, all in vain. Those swindlers should be thrown behind prison bars.
Instead of casinos, we should have theaters, concert halls, or picture galleries.
Right. Also, prostitutes should have fixed working hours, either in the daytime or at night. And they should have a trade union to take care of their days off, sick leaves, vacations, and everything else working people should be entitled to.
It wouldn't be so bad to send them on indefinite leave, for all time to come. Enough of that whoredom. A husband should bring his wages to his family instead of spending them on floozies. As it is, our money's not worth a fig now anyways.
Money is not the main thing, though.
Not even when you've got a lot of it?
The main thing is for the heart to sing.
Hey, that's a fine idea. Let's sing a revolutionary song.
Gives Victoria a wink and says under her breath,
Once they hear it, they'll be moved and let us free.
Let's strike up the International. If we could also build a fire and burn all the compromising capitalist trash, like, for instance, this typical porno magazine.
It's not a porno, but a usual woman's magazine.
picks up the magazine, but Natalia tries to take it back.
What about this broad string with what looks like a swimming suit?
She's supposed to wear a fur coat in the summer?
Hides the magazine in a desk drawer.
It just entered my mind that it's not the left we're dealing with.
Who then?
Try to recall how the man addressed you.
He said Pani. Yes, he did, and in Ukrainian besides.
See? It's the right, of course. The left wouldn't be torturing their tongues to squeeze a Ukrainian word out of their mouths. Makes me sick listening to those enlightened members of parliament who can't piece together a simple phrase in Ukraine. The tongue of the rescues is the only one they seem to know.
And with a lot of can't. Yes, we're dealing with the right.
Oh my, what a flood of gibberish we've let loose there.
No, a bright future of the communist variety would make a hash out of our lives.
Yes, we've had enough of that friendship of peoples, and apart from everything else, you won't get far on a skating board.
People in the West have a decent life. Perhaps we too might come into something decent one day. The main thing is to advance in the right direction.
For a starter, let's shake the imagination of a genuine Ukrainian woman.
Do you have any embroidered blouses by any chance?
Do you think that embroidery is a favorite pastime among the dead?
Know how sarcastic we are. I was just curious. All right, let's have a closer look at the main things. Our ancestry, for one. What's your surname?
Varlentenko, by my husband's name.
What a husband with such a surname to bump into. Did it take long to find him? For our situation, though, it's an ideal surname. It captures so beautifully the national character, so to speak. And what's your maiden name?
Determined.
Oh, that's a worst case.
Not at all. It's part Latin of what means Jimson weed.
Sure, and it also goes as a hallucinogen. It has a Jewish ring about it, too. Are there any Jews among your ancestors?
Not as far as I know. Will they be really filtering my ethnic background so much?
You bet, right down to 7 generations. I knew one character who was always asking everyone whether he was a Ukrainian. Once I invited him to hear Verdi's Rigoletto at the opera. Is he a Ukrainian, he asked. Who? I said. Verdi or Rigoletto? Said he. Both! Funny, isn't it?
Not at all. And what's your surname?
Except morgue ledgers.
Might as well be a corpse temporarily with a stamped document to confirm it.
You needn't be a corpse temporarily for much longer time.
The telephone rings. Both women freeze.
Pick it up. It's your turn now. Try to guess by his voice what party he belongs to.
And the color of his boxers, yes?
Picks up the receiver.
Hello? Whoa, we're stuck.
Already? Where? Are they the left or the right?
I don't know. We got stuck here while they got stuck in a traffic jam. We were told to be prepared for everything, perhaps even for the worst.
Scene 6.
For the worst? Good God, what worse could there be than the mess we're in? We've been dead, went for screwballs, and lived in nuclear war of 2 coups. For how long will they be driving us up the wall?
Mind you, it's we who cooked up all this.
This damned uncertainty. I can't stand it any longer. I'd do just anything to get out of this dump.
Anything you say? All right, strip then.
Have you gone off your rockers for good?
No, I just got an idea that has to be checked. Do you want to crack this puzzle? Don't be so shaky. I'm a square as far as sexual orientation is concerned.
What did you think up? Alright.
Begins to undress.
Well, it's cold in here.
Never mind, soon it'll be hot for you.
What do you mean?
Looks over her critically.
You've got a nice figure with everything in its proper place.
How much longer will I be freezing like that? What don't you explain up at long last?
You can get dressed now. We invented the hell knows what, while everything has a simple and banal explanation. Look at it this way. A nice chick like you or me, for instance, suddenly lands in an out-of-the-way place. Why pay the broads anything? Lock up a stray woman, build up a psychological pressure for a couple of hours, and she'll do anything to get out of here, just like you said.
You know, that muffled voice sounded very much like a hood's. Mommy dear, what are we to do now?
There's only one way out. You know what I mean.
Are you seriously suggesting that we...
I hate it, of course, but when it'll come to,
We have to get out of here.
that we tried already. Is there any place we can hide in here?
Probably only among the corpses, but I won't join their company. Anyway, finding us among them will be easy.
I won't join them either. So there's no choice for us.
I'll resist. Yell, put up a fight. In the end, I'll threaten to call the police.
What a foolish frame of mind. You might as well yell your head off and nobody will hear you. Don't you ever read the papers? If it's done on the quiet, they carry off their dirty job and scram. But once there are any threats, you're bumped off in curtains. One corpse less or more makes no difference. It's stuck into a cooler and no one's the wiser.
You're wrong on that point. We keep strict records.
Would that make you any happier? Better endure half an hour of unpleasant feelings than turn into a stick. I can't boast much about a school of hard knocks, but what I've gone through here is enough for me.
I can't make myself do it with the first man I come across.
Listen, lady, this won't be a visit to the dentist. All you've got to do is simply go through the motions.
How?
Once a rake offered to do something nice to me, and I said I had another partner for this purpose, to which he suggested, so just make believe that it's him, not me. Don't rattle me.
Did you agree?
Of course not. But ours is a different case. There's no reason to assume a negative posture. They mightn't be some ugly apes, but nice-looking boys.
A nice-looking one can find a woman for himself.
The telephone rings.
Will you pick it up?
Let it be you. You know better what's what.
Picks up the telephone.
Hello?
A long pause. Replaces the receiver. Goes rigid. Epilogue.
Well, what did he say? Why do you keep silent? Don't scare me. Was it what you thought? What then? Who was it? Speak up, don't torture me.
I don't know. He said that they changed their minds and won't come.
Why?
He didn't say, but added, you could choose yourself. Either leave or stay.
Well, I'll be. Wait a minute. Do they know that at least we're locked up?
Seems to me they know as much about us, as more about us than we may suspect. Maybe something we ourselves don't know.
So we're back to being reference point zero. We don't know who we are, where we are, what'll happen to us, and who and when will open the door.
Just a moment. He suggested that we leave. Try that door again?
I'm sick of trying. All right, I'll try so that you won't have any doubts.
Pushes the door. It proves to be unlocked, and she almost tumbles outside.
Well, me jiggered. There's some tunnel and a light at the end.
Runs to the second door. It's open as well.
I seem to see a street at a crack of dawn. Take a look at your watch, quick.
But
Produces her watch and puts it to her ear.
it's ticking. Is it really the end of our play? Are we really free?
The end, you say? Nothing doing. It's just the beginning.
Yet another scenario. What beginning do you have in mind?
The worst. Remember he mentioned about the worst?
Why the worst?
Don't you understand? They gave you a choice.
What's so bad about it?
They threw to us that choice like a bone to a dog. Here, take the freedom and choke on it. You can leave or you can stay. You can be alive, you can be dead, but it's all a choice of your own. Nothing's coming from above or from below. We are nothing. There's nobody you can complain about your troubles and mistakes. You don't have to adapt to any circumstances. It's you who's creating these circumstances. Your steps, your words, your shadows, they're all exclusively yours. We waited all this time for the one to open the door in vain. And the most horrible thing of all is that the telephone won't be ringing anymore. They just passed us by. It's the worst thing they could do.
What will be with us now?
I don't know.
Both women embrace each other firmly in the middle of the stage. The doors remain wide open. The light coming through them is different, like from different worlds. There is an illusion of severe draft. The woman stands still, uncertain what to do next. Slow fade out.
Thank you.
Thank you again for joining us tonight. We'd really encourage you all to donate to supporting the relief efforts in Ukraine. But thank you so much for joining us, and thank you again to our actors.